This video explains how to use user security role. So from system security model and from the system options screen, set the role securities to user. Click on save, close the screen, close the model and reopen system security model. When you reopen it, you will notice that under the functions menu, there are three new screens: role definition, role security administration, and user role administration. In fact, these are the three steps you will need to follow to define security roles. So the first step is to create the role name, AP invoices or AP treasury or approvers, or it's up to you to choose the appropriate list of roles you need. The second step is to define security for that role. Restrict access to some screens, grant access to others, etc. And the last step is to assign users to roles. So, as you may know, the first two steps could be done once and for all at the time you implement the roles. The third step is the one that you will be doing every time you have a new user to be assigned to one security role or to be moved from one role to another. So as I said, the first step, you need to define the role, AP treasury, for example. Click on save. The second step is to define the security for that role. So you choose the new role and you copy security from either the role master that has access to everything or from another role that has the closest access right to the new one. So I will be copying from AP invoice. I can also copy from role master. It depends on the case. Okay. So I'm gonna use role master. Click on copy and wait until the access rights are copied. Now all what we need is to filter or to refine access to this role. AP treasury will be users that will be doing payments, checks. So they should not have access to entering invoices or journalizing anything. If you are unsure about what screens to lock and what screens to unlock, you can open the accounts payable models and follow the list of menus. So as I said, users should have access to the checks, entire checks menu. However, they should not journalize, they should not change any of the parameters in utilities. They do not have access to invoice entering, validation approval, and they cannot maintain vendors. So I am safe to say I can lock the entire vendors menu, the entire transactions menu, the entire journalize menu, and the entire utilities menus. I will leave checks open, reports, and inquiry. To do that, you select the menu code menu, and menu, this one brings all the menus you see on the toolbar. And then we said we grant them access to checks, we hide access or we lock access to journalize, transactions, utilities, and vendors. You click on save. So now in AP they have the appropriate needed access rights. You need also for all the remaining models to define the security for this role. In GL, I don't need these users to access to anything in GL, so I am locking the entire model. You do the same thing for all the remaining models depending on the access rights you would like to grant them model by model. So second step is completed. I have defined the access right to this new role. The last step is role by role. you will assign users. So we can say that these two users should be part of AP Treasury, or we could say only this user is part of the AP Treasury. So you are dispatching users from this list to the specific appropriate role. Once you finish, you click on save, and when you save, access rights will be applied to this user based on the access rights defined on this role. So if you understood well, three main steps: define the role and define the access right to that role. This could be done in the beginning at the moment you implement roles. And next, every time you have a new user, you access the user role administration and you assign it to the appropriate role.